Well, thank you so much for joining us on Let the Healing Begin podcast. I'm your host, Asia, and today we have Anmol Singh joining us. How are you doing, Anmol?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much for making time. Um, so where are you from?
I'm in New York, Manhattan, right on Wall Street. Enjoying this rainy day today.
Right. Are you born and raised there?
No, born and raised in India. So moved out, went to London, lived there for about 5 years, and 2015 is when I actually came over to New York. Before that, I was living in London.
Okay. So what would you say is one of the biggest obstacles trying to trying to get acclimated to the US?
Honestly, I had a good time. I think I was always very independent, so I
Oh,
always wanted to feel like I could take challenges on my own. So for me, it wasn't a huge deal. I think the only thing I was building connections and building friendships, because when you're new to a country or new to a city, you don't know anybody, so you have to kind of make your way around to create your support circles. I think that was kind of the most challenging part. But apart from that, the country is great. Definitely a land of opportunity, and for people to make the most of it.
okay. Do you ever get homesick?
Sometimes, but I try to visit every other year. So every couple of years, I kind of go back, spend a month or two in India, see my parents, and then I usually come back. I think a month or two is a perfect time to spend time with your family and everything. But then you can kind of come back and focus on your work.
Absolutely. So when you came over here, you came alone?
Yes, I have some cousins and family here, but apart from that, pretty much I came by myself.
Okay. So let's go back to your childhood. How was it growing up in India for you?
For me, it was, I would say, a little challenging. I didn't feel like I fit in. I felt like I didn't really belong there. I always wanted to kind of, escape, so to speak. I was an introvert. I think I still am for the most part. So for me, growing up was one of those environments where I think that's kind of where all of the seeds for success were planted, because I decided very early on that I have to make it happen, no matter what it takes. Maybe I wasn't the most popular kid in school, so I felt like I have to earn my place in the world, and I think that's what gave me the drive. So wouldn't change anything. Definitely a challenging, time growing up, but wouldn't change a thing because that shaped who I am right now.
So that type of mentality that you had growing up, was that something that you were taught, or is that just feelings that you had?
I definitely saw my dad working really hard growing up, right? So he was like, I barely saw him. Maybe saw him a month in a whole year, and the rest of the time he was traveling, doing it in different countries, running, trying to make bread and try to run the business. So I think growing up, I saw that. I saw how hardworking he was, and I think that's when I learned that okay, the more hardworking you are, the more you can provide for your family, and the more you can provide, the more control you have over your life. So I think that definitely took that to heart, and I guess I'm doing the same thing now, like what he was doing, traveling all over. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. So, didn't not much different than what he did.
Right. So do you have brothers and sisters?
Yeah, I got two older sisters.
Okay. Are they still back in India?
Yes, they
Okay.
don't want anything to do with here. They love just traveling here for a vacation. They're like, we got a great life, we got a driver, we got a chef. So, and here when they visit me, they're like, oh, I got to do my own dishes. And I'm like, how spoiled
Yeah.
are you? So they're enjoying their life there. They're they don't want anything to do with here.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, prior coming to the US, had you heard stories about the US, or what were you expecting coming here?
So growing up, like above my computer screen, I had like a vision board, and I would have like, images of skyscrapers, New York, and that's the only thing I know. I just knew that, okay, it's a lot of skyscrapers, a lot of tall buildings, a lot of success. That's how I looked at it. There's always a taller building here. You can always be motivated no matter which place you're living at. There's always a better penthouse. There's always a taller building. There's always somebody doing better than you. I think that drives me a lot, the competition. So growing up, that's the perception that I had, is just, had tall buildings, people doing deals, making things happen. And I wanted to be a part of that.
Okay. So are both of your parents still alive?
Yes.
Okay. Are they still together?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yeah. A long time. They've been together for a really long time. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this, growing up and your dad working so much, did that, what type of effect did that have on you because you didn't get to see him often?
I mean, now looking back, I'm like, yeah, I wish I had more time, and we got to do a lot more things together or more experiences, because I don't really have those experiences that most people would have, with, with their father, about like going to games or watching sport or playing this. I didn't have any of that. In the moment though, like I didn't really think too much about it, because in my mind I was like, okay, he's working hard, and all I know is when he comes back, that he's always got these great toys or always got these things for us. So I knew that, okay, he's, like I could put two and two together and see that he was working hard. And so I never really thought too much about it. Although obviously I, wish I had more other experiences to do with that. But I think that definitely shaped who I am, and I'm as hardworking, just as hardworking, if not more. So I think I took that from him.
Absolutely. Would you and your siblings ever talk about like him not being home?
Yeah, like we would just talk about general stuff, but we would all look forward to, because he was very good at letting okay, here's where I'm coming, and he always brings like a lot of gifts when he came back from travels. So I think we would always look forward to when he would come back. And but one thing for sure is like when he was in the house, we kind of know, okay, he's the man of the house, and we got to listen to what he says, and that's how it was growing up for us.
Okay. So I know you say you travel a lot. So out of all the places that you've traveled, which one would be your favorite?
So there's two different answers to that. One would be, what's a great other place that I could think about myself living in, versus what's another place to explore, and that's a beautiful place. So for that, like Prague in Czech Republic is gorgeous. It's a beautiful place. That's a really good place to have a, week out, and beautiful city, really good architecture. But I probably wouldn't want to live there though. For living, I would say Dubai 100% is the place to be, just because it's super safe, and you can wear your expensive stuff out there. Nobody's going to do anything to you. Whereas I can't say the same about going on the streets of London or going on the streets of New York if you're wearing an expensive watch. Like California these days, people breaking into people's cars. All of that doesn't happen in Dubai. So I think that is a country where if you're successful, you can have a really good life and stay relatively, very safe.
Right. So how old were you when you came over to the US?
I was 2015, so about only 8 years ago. So I guess I was 20, early 20s.
Okay. Um, were you nervous at all?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think definitely, because I was like, hey, it's really expensive. Come into the country the right way, right? The legal way. I mean, now I guess people can just cross the border and come over, but
Right.
for me, I had to do it the right way. I had a lot of paperwork, a lot of legal stuff, a lot of money spent, time spent. So definitely nervous, because I put in well over a couple $1 million just to get here and start a business. So for me, it was one of those things where, is this the right decision? I put in a lot of money. I think that definitely created some nervousness, but I think that also is what kept me on the edge and kept me going.
Were there ever any times in that process where you were like frustrated and you're like, I want to go home?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, all the time, because early on when I started the business there, because the way I came to the country was using an investment visa, where you kind of come in, you invest some money in the economy, you hire some people, you create jobs, and then they, you know, make you a citizen of the country. So for me, when I started that business, it was challenging. It was super tough. Like there was times where I would run out of money, the accounts in the negative, and I still got to pay my salaries, or my employees like, hey, the check bounced. A lot of those things happen. So I definitely thought about quitting. I said, man, I don't think this is worth it. I should probably just go back and live the easy life over in India, because for what I was making, I could live a good life in India. But here, not so much. Everything's super expensive in New York. So yeah, I definitely had those times. But I'm grateful for all of those, because that definitely shaped who I am.
Absolutely. So what would you say is the biggest difference from India and the US?
The biggest difference is I would say people are more driven and individualistic here, whereas everybody has their own, life that they're going by, and you're the main character in your own life, and everybody's just going. Whereas India, I guess there's more relationship approach, where it's not so much networking and exchanging business cards like it would be over here. There, I think people take a more relationship approach, get to know people who you do business with over a period of time. So I think that was kind of the biggest difference. And on a good part though, like things get done faster here. If you want to do anything to do with the government or paperwork or anything, everything's pretty fast, and you can do a lot of stuff online. India, though, it would take ages for anything to get done, and you would have to actually physically go to those government offices and, do all the paperwork. And yeah, so I think for that, I'm definitely grateful.
So, when you say like you have to go to the government offices, you just like go turn in the paperwork and just like it's like a waiting game.
Yeah, in India, like, first of all, you'll be waiting a long time in the office before you even get your chance, because it's a lot of people. It's a packed country. So, and then after that, it would take ages, like weeks and months, before you hear back from them. And there's a lot of bureaucracy in there. Oh, you forgot this one paperwork. You got to start it all over again. So a lot of those kind of processes that make you do the runaround. And also you gotta, sometimes you gotta bribe people. You gotta do all sorts of stuff to get any work done there. So one thing that America is good at is, hey, you don't have to bribe people. You can get your work done the right way if you're following the rules.
Yeah. So you spoke about your business. Would you elaborate on what is it that you do?
Yeah, definitely. So for a living, I mean, I trade stocks and currencies, options, investing in the stock market, trading in the stock market. So that's kind of primarily what I do. And then also have angel investments. So I'm, investor in 32 different startup companies, like I'm backing and, providing support to. And then we have livetraders.com. So that's a platform where we teach other people how to trade the stock market. We courses, seminars, we do live events, and I also live stream every single day of my trading. So win or lose, people get to see it in real time. I think that's pretty fascinating. So that's kind of what we do, basically teaching people how to take control of their financial future, so they can trade for themselves and not rely on a hedge fund manager or a broker that are just charging them fees.
Right. What made you want to go into that?
I was doing that, I guess, trading is all I've really done. Like I've never had a job, never worked for anybody. I started trading when I was in my dorm room in London, and I just got something and I was like, all right, I figured I got this thing I'm good at. I'm not going to even look anywhere else. And so I just devoted all of my time to trading. And yeah, that's all I've really done. So like, I don't really have, like I tell people, I don't think I'm employable. Like if I was to work for somebody else now, I've never worked for anybody, not even an internship. So I don't even know what it's like to work for anybody. So I just got into it. It just kind of fell into it. But then the live trader started because as a way of teaching other traders, because I know how hard it is when you're learning to trade the stock market. And more importantly, you don't even know who to trust, because a lot of people are great at marketing, right? Oh, come join my trading program. They're like really good at marketing. But when it comes down to trading, they're probably not even doing anything real, right? They're not even trading themselves. It's just about recruiting people. So for me, the reason we started Live Traders is show people what actual real trading looks like. And to see a professional, trade live every single day, I think there's nothing better than that. So to help people shorten their learning curve.
So, like, I know you mentioned like going through some tough patches or some rough patches, like in business. Were there ever some times when you thought about shutting the business down and just quitting?
Oh yeah, many times. I think in my first 2 years, I thought about that every other week, about quitting. I lost money my whole first year of trading. Like I didn't make a single penny. I lost like a few $1,000s in my first year. So yeah, at that time I thought about quitting, but luckily I surrounded myself with people who were already achieving that success. So they kept, they kept me going. They're like, all right, just try this, tweak it a little bit here, fix this a little bit there, see how it goes. So they kept me on the game. And I think I'm very thankful to the support circle that I had, because yeah, without the right guidance, I probably would have quit.
Right. So let me ask you this. Let's say we have a listener that is that has started a business and is, in one of those rough patches right now, and they're like, straddling the fence on shutting the business down. What would you say to that person?
The first thing is, is there anybody else in the industry who's having the success that you want? Right, same thing. So whatever business you're doing, is anybody else out there that is in the same industry doing the same business and succeeding? If the answer is yes, then it clearly works. So you just got to figure out a way to make it work. So see what they're doing. It's not that hard. Like model yourself. And I think people have to humble themselves and get rid of their pride. Oh, I'm going to try to figure out myself. No, somebody's already doing what they're doing. Like study them, like really look at every single thing they're doing, look at their website, look at how they're getting people to the store, really look at them, study them, and just do what they're doing until you get the results. So they talk about that in neuro-linguistic programming, NLP, is to model yourself after successful people. That's all I did when it comes to trading, is I just looked at people who are already making money. And I'm like, teach me, like, show me everything you do. And I just surrounded myself. And, you have to suspend your disbeliefs, because if there's any doubt in your mind telling you, oh, I don't know if I could do it, well, then you're not going to do it. Right. So you have to first suspend your disbelief, get rid of that. And then you got to model yourself after successful people.
Well, that's good. Now, I got another question for you. Would you let the listeners know the importance of having like-minded people around you when you are trying to pursue business?
Yeah, so I think you should actually not have like-minded people around you, because
Really?
like-minded, you need to have growth-minded people around you, because let's say if you're drinking alcohol, or your friends are out drinking alcohol, yeah, we're like-minded, but but it's not the same thing. So surround yourself with people who are growth-minded. They're always telling you, rather than the problem, they're always talking about the solution. So I don't surround myself with people that are always pointing out, oh, this is wrong, or this is not going well, or revenue's down. I'm like, yeah, great, we all know that. Like, what are we going to do about it? Right? So solution-focused, growth-oriented people is who you want to surround yourself with. That are always telling, hey, did you try this, rather than, oh, that's not working. So you have to surround yourself with the right kind of people.
Absolutely. So let's say someone, what about the person that has maybe quit their business? What motivational piece would you say to the person to get back in there and get going again?
I mean, if they already quit it, then first you have to ask, what did you learn from that? So if you just quit and you didn't learn anything, then you wasted that opportunity. Like, I look at every failure as a tuition that I paid. I learned something. It's a course that I took, right? So when I lost money in trading, I just look at, okay, that was a great lesson. Now I got to do this. So you have to always steer your mind to what I can do. So the way I think about it is like, you imagine an ocean, right? There's a sailboat there. Now, if the sailboat, if nobody's, steering the sailboat, guess what happened? The boat will just drift, right? It'll just drift wherever it wants to go. You don't know where it's going to drift. The boat's just going to drift in the water, right? So that's kind of how our life is. Life is a drift. It's just going to keep drifting away unless you take control of the steering wheel and steer to where you want it to go. Otherwise, it's just going to drift. So with any business, first ask yourself, what did you learn from that failure, right? What's going to help you in your next endeavor, whatever you want to do? And then really make sure whatever you get into next is something you're actually curious about. Because without curiosity, you're not going to make it. Just simple as that. Because as soon as it gets tough, guess what happens? You're going to quit, because it doesn't feel like you're something you're curious about. But when you are curious about something and you fail at something, guess what? Your mind's like, ooh, what can I do better? Can I do this? Can I do that? The curiosity will keep you going through the rough challenges. But if you're not curiosity, first sign of problems, you're going to quit.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's so easy to quit, but it's like, because some people start business and don't make any money. Like you said, with your business, you lost money in the first year. And they're, immediately after the first year of not making money, they're like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's not producing fruit right off the bat like I thought it would be. But actually, it just takes consistency, and like you said a moment ago, just tweaking a little here, tweaking a little there, and just use the whole journey as like a learning process, because none of us are perfect, and there's always room for more growth and always room for more knowledge. So it's just, a process. Nobody starts off perfect,
Yeah, I mean, nobody, and it's a constant journey. It's never a place where you reach success and you're like, okay, great, I'm there. There's no such thing. You just got to keep your foot forward, one foot after the other, and just keep going. So there's a story I'll tell you. Like, I went on this kind of like a marathon type of thing, and I was the most unfit person there. Okay, everybody's like training for this for weeks on end, and I just got there. I didn't know that people were actually training for this stuff. So I got there, and it was like a whole, I think 5-6 miles that you got to run through the mountains. Then you got to carry sandbags and like proper thing. And I remember I looked at it, I was like, oh, I don't think I could do it, right? And I tried running a little bit, and after like just even maybe not even a lap, I was tired. And there was a Navy SEAL there as well. He's like, all right, here's what we're gonna do. I'm like, I don't think I can do it. You guys carry on. I mean, you guys are super fit. You trained for this for years. I did not train at all. He's like, here's what we're gonna do. I know you're tired, but you see that tree over there? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, just get there. That's all. You don't have to go all the way. Just get there. I got to that tree. He's like, great. You see that tree over there? Just get to that one, right? And I got to that tree. And just by doing that, like tree to tree, I finished the whole thing, right? And I finished on the bronze. And otherwise, if I just left myself to my own mind, I would have quit. I wouldn't even start, right? And just don't look at the big goal over there. Just look at, okay, I'm gonna go here first, and then take it step by step.
Yep. And a lot of times we don't even know the whole thing, you know. We just know, okay, I want to do this. I don't know how I'm gonna get there, you know, but it's just step by step, like you said, you know. And those small steps, I say all the time, those small steps produce big goals. I mean, you know, they produce big results, you know.
Yeah.
You know, that's amazing. And you know what? Congratulations on winning that, you know, running the marathon, because man, I know that's tough.
Yeah.
So what would you say your ultimate goal is with your business, or just
My
in life in
ultimate
general?
Yeah, my ultimate goal right now is just to try to be the best that I can be, right? Best version of myself. Not anybody else's best version, not comparing myself to somebody else, but the best that I can be, so I can kind of look back in the mirror to my face and say, okay, I gave it my all. I didn't mess around. I didn't waste any time. Because I just don't want to have regrets. I don't want to be like, oh, I wish I did that. I wish I'd spend my life this way. You know, I don't want to have any of that. So I want to look back and say, okay, you know what? I did exactly what I wanted to do. And if I can just say that to myself, that's my only goal right now. So, you know, I kind of did the money dream, business dream for like a while. But now I'm kind of, health is one of my top focuses, because there was a period I was just, you know, traveling all over the world, doing my thing, and kind of messed up my health in the process. So now it's all about, like, you know.
Yeah. So do you feel like you fulfilled like what you want to do with your business, or would you like to like branch off and do more, like outside of just trading?
Yeah, I always want to do more. As I said, success, I don't think is a destination.
Right.
It's a journey. So if you're enjoying the journey, you're going to keep going. I mean, you know, we all know people who are like in their 80s and 90s and still going and working and doing their meetings. They're not doing it for more money or more success. It's just because they love it. They love that hustle. And I think I'm the same way. It's not I don't look at, okay, if I get to this number, I'm going to be happy. There's no such thing. You just keep going. That's something, it's, you know, I think some people have it, some people don't. You can definitely be trained and coached, but there's a certain set of people that just, you know, keep going.
Absolutely. So let's say we have another listener that can't really figure out, you know, because a lot of people don't really care for the jobs that they do. How would you, or what advice would you give to the person that is like, I'm just working this job just to make ends meet, to get by, but they're actually like actively looking for like how to locate what they love?
Yeah. So I think that comes down to, like, you know, just look around you and see, what do you actually value in your life? So what do you spend most of your time with, right? What do you spend most of your time on? And what is something that you can do without feeling like you're working? Like, for example, if I'm watching, or if I'm reading a book, or if I'm, you know, attending a business workshop, like it's not work that I'm going on a business workshop. I love attending these things, learning new things. So for me, that was one of those things. And another person that I was coaching, so he was like, you know, very young kid, super into video games. I asked him that question, you know, what do you love doing? He's like, oh, I love playing video games. And he thought he'd throw me off. I was like, great, why don't you start, you know, streaming on Twitch and just play your video games? And he's got millions of subscribers now, making a good income from video games. So make an inventory of what are your skills are right now. What do you think you're good at? What is something that maybe other people ask you advice on or for, right? That's how you can figure out what you might be good at to start doing. And then it's all about trial and error. Try it. Right? If it doesn't work, if you're not happy with it, if you're not feeling the passion, move on. And it's okay to move on pretty quickly, but don't just drag something on if you're feeling like this is not the future. So if you're in a job where you're just stuck there, you're not enjoying it, it's a miserable life, like, have an exit plan. Don't just stay there, because you're going to be more miserable down the line. So figure your skills out. What are you good at? What other people ask you about? What do you surround yourself with? What do you spend most of your time with? Right? And then start something on the side while you still have your job, because I know we got to pay our bills. So keep the job, start something on the side, and get it to a decent enough level that is producing some income, so that when it can replace your job income, then you can quit your job.
That's really good stuff. That's really good stuff. So a few more questions. So like when people reach out, or how is your program designed? Do people, like, how long is the program when someone signs up and that type of thing?
Yeah, so livetradersguide.com is the website, or livetraders.com is the main website. But at livetradersguide.com, once they sign up, you get like a free introductory course. It's a 2-hour video course that I taught, along with a guide that comes with it. So that's a very good introduction to the stock market and trading. That'll kind of give you a really good idea if this is something you want to get into or not. And it's not for everybody. So some people might watch it, they're like, okay, it's not for me, and that's totally fine, right? So that gives you people a good insight. Typically, then it takes usually at least a year, I've noticed it takes to learn the craft, because what happens is, even if you learn the trading strategies, which I can teach anybody in a week, right? But you actually doing it is a completely different ball game, right? When you have your own money on the line and you see the fluctuations, accounts moving up and down, right? You feel the emotions, your heartbeat. That's a whole different ball game, controlling your mindset. So usually it's about the year mark. 6 to 12 months is what it really takes for people to get this game and start, making an income from it. But sometimes it takes longer for some people. Sometimes it takes shorter.
Now I got another question. Have you ever met anyone that was addicted to trading?
Yeah, but they don't last very long, because trading is a game of patience. So if you're trading for the thrill, if you're too excited about your trading, then that's gambling. That's not really trading, right? Real trading is just simple. Oftentimes most of the trading is waiting for the right opportunity and then jumping on. If you're just taking trades left and right, buying crypto one day, next year buying something else, next year you're buying GameStop or AMC, and that's gambling. That's not trading. So there's a big difference there.
Absolutely. So if you weren't trading, what do you think you'll be doing? What do you think you'd be doing?
I would be probably helping startup companies, like I still do on the side right now. I'd be helping companies grow, because I think I bring a unique approach to business, and I've had several different businesses that I've either invested in or helped out that have gone public on the stock market. They're big businesses now, big companies. So I think I definitely bring a unique approach, because I have studied many different industries. I mean, think about it. I was an introvert. I had a lot of time by myself to study a lot of different things. So I have a certain skill set that helps businesses, especially online businesses, grow. And that's probably what I would be doing.
Okay. There was something else I was going to ask you, and it slipped my mind a little bit. Oh, is there anything you regret about trading?
Yeah, there was a couple times I made mistakes I shouldn't have made, or I would say, take a bigger position than I should have taken. So I've done those things too. I think that's the natural journey of a trader, where I think you have to do something stupid so you can learn the lesson. And so I've taken many such lessons, where I too was like, okay, it's making a few money here and there, but it's not really that thing that I want. So you try to make that big trade to get that money, and that's usually the wrong thing to do.
Yeah. So have there ever, when you have those moments, how do you recover from that?
You recover from it. First, you got to learn the lesson, right? And you tell yourself, okay, I'll take that punch on the face. I'm not gonna do it again, number one. And then number two, you got to put things in place to ensure you don't do it again. Because when the markets are open, like as Mike Tyson says, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face, right? So when you get punched in the face, when it comes to trading, you got to take a step back, evaluate, reevaluate everything, right? And then put things in place to ensure you don't do that thing, whatever that thing was, again. So that usually comes with discipline, training your mind, being emotionally very calm. And you have to be actually be unemotional when it comes to trading. A trade is a trade. You don't have to get married to the stock, like I'm gonna hold Bitcoin forever. Now that you're married to it, right? So I always tell it, trade it, don't date it.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Have you ever had clients that do want to hold on to it for a while?
Yeah, most newer people who come in, they'll get into a stock and it's going against them, and then they keep holding. Maybe it'll come back up. Let me buy more. That's the worst thing you can do. The key to trading is taking small losses, right? You're not going to win all the time. I lose half the time, right? But when I win big. When I lose very small amounts. Paper cuts. I'm okay with all right, this trade's not working. Small loss, move on to the next one. So I take a lot of small losses. And I think that's the art that people need to master, is taking small losses rather than one big loss that wipes away your whole account.
Absolutely. That's good. That's good advice. So about two more questions. Let's say we got a listener that's thinking about, starting to trade. What would you say to that person?
I would tell that person to focus on learning first, right? So first you got to learn before you can remove the L from learn, right? To earn.
Mm,
So you got to learn first. You got to surround yourself with people who have the results. You got to model, yourself after them. See how they, act. See how they treat themselves. See how they handle their emotions. So first is mental mastery. You got to master the mind because trading releases the same hormones. Research was done, and trading releases the same hormones of dopamine and serotonin that you get when you gamble, you have sex, you do cocaine. And as traders, we're getting that every single day in real time just from trading. So if you're not emotionally stable person, you're going to make all sorts of mistakes, right? You're going to start gambling. You're going to go on tilt, as they say on poker. So you have to be a very stable person. So master your mind first, and then everything else will fall into place.
okay. Well, that was some good advice. So one last thing, if I know you spoke your website a little earlier into the segment. Can you let everyone know where they can find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, Twitter and Instagram is where I'm the most active. My username on both of those is Delta90, DELTANINETY. Don't ask me why. I had it a long time ago. I just never changed it after they verified it, so kept it the same. But that's where you could get in touch with me. But when it comes to trading, livetraders.com or livetradersguide.com, where you can get the free video course. Those would be the best places. And my book right here, Prepping for Success, that is on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, Walmart, wherever you buy your books.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's great chatting with you.
Thank you. You too. So thank you guys once again for joining us on Let the Healing Begin podcast. Please head over to Amazon and support us by purchasing a copy of Back in My Day by Asia Wilson. You can also go to www.greatergrowthllc.com and support us there. And then you can also check out our link tree to see what other services that we offer, and like and follow us on other social media platforms. Thank you, and until next time.